In Greek mythology, Prometheus is the god who stole fire and gave it to humanity. Similarly, in Chinese mythology, there is the story of Zhurou, the god of fire who benefited mankind. The use of fire is regarded as a key indicator of the progress of human civilization. Under the warm glow of fire, humans unlock the secrets of metalworking. Although early human civilizations were spread far apart on the earth, ancient humans independently reached a consensus. The shiny metal gold was not only a rare treasure, but also a symbol of power, wealth, and divinity.
I just came back from China yesterday. I was there for the ICOMOS China meeting. It's a big international conference. The two objects are very similar in form. The difference is that the Chinese one is meant to be worn by a statue, a bronze statue, so it covers the face of a god, and the other one is worn by mortals because it was found in a tomb, so it's for a human being.
3,000 years ago, humanity created two distinctly different faces on two similarly sized pieces of gold. The golden mask of China's ancient Shu civilization from Sanxingdui, and the mask of Agamemnon from the Mycenaean civilization in Greece, gaze at each other across time and space. Their histories remain a mystery.
残银堆和金沙出土的面具呢，它是戴在神的脸上，它是便于和神灵的一种沟通，让神灵的那个旨意能够传达跟子民，能够把子民的一种意愿传达跟神灵。
Βλέπουμε ότι αυτή η εναπόθεση προσωπίδων, ας πούμε, στους πάρα πολύ σημαντικούς ανθρώπους συσχετίζεται με κάποιο τρόπο μια επιθυμία βαθύτερη του ανθρώπου για την αθανασία. Ότι προσπαθεί δηλαδή κάπως να κρατήσει το πρόσωπο αυτό το οποίο χάνεται και πάει στον άλλο κόσμο, να το κρατήσει δηλαδή εδώ, έστω σαν στιγμιότυπο, έτσι, σαν μια φυσιογνωμία δηλαδή, η οποία να μείνει κοντά και μάλιστα με έναν τρόπο, όχι απλά την κρατήσει σαν εικόνα.
In 580 BC, during China's late spring and autumn period, it was experiencing the struggles for dominance among feudal lords. While in ancient Greece, the most glorious city-state, Athens, was constructing the Acropolis in the heart of the city.
Από εδώ που είμαστε, όπως μπορείτε να δείτε, έχουμε μια πολύ καλή οπτική της Ακρόπολης και το μνημείο που προβάλλει μέσα σε όλον αυτό τον αρχαιολογικό χώρο είναι ο Παρθενώνας. Αυτός είναι ο χώρος τον οποίο έχουμε αναλάβει να συντηρήσουμε.
The Acropolis of Athens is the most outstanding architectural complex of ancient Greece, representing the highest level of Greek temples, colonnades, and sculptures. However, since its construction, the Acropolis has endured a 2,600-year cycle of destruction and restoration.
Και κυρίως ένα πολύ χαρακτηριστικό σημείο, μια αρχή την οποία προσπαθούμε να εφαρμόσουμε είναι η αναστήλωση να μην ξεπερνά τα όρια που μας επιτρέπει η γνώση του μνημείου. Αν δεν ξέρουμε πώς ήταν το μνημείο σε όλες τις λεπτομέρειες.
Today, architectural engineer Vasiliki Eleftherio and her team have successfully restored historical monuments like the Erechtheion and the Temple of Athena.
Της θερμοκρασίας και αυτή η ζέστη, παρόλο που αυτές οι θερμοκρασίες που παρατηρούμε, παρόλο που μιλάμε για μνημεία από πέτρα, εν τούτης αθρηστικά επιταχύνουν την φθορά του υλικού, αλλά τα μνημεία κινδυνεύουν όταν έχουμε απότομες βροχές, ισχυρές βροχές, και με τον τρόπο που προσπαθεί το νερό να βρει διέξοδο, μπορεί να δημιουργήσει πρόβλημα στα θεμέλια των μνημείων.
To combat the daily erosion of marble sculptures by natural forces, the Greeks decided to move the artifacts indoors, just 300 meters from the Parthenon.
Όλα αυτά είναι η κληρονομιά της ανθρωπότητας και με αυτή την έννοια η παγκόσμια κληρονομιά την οποία εμείς σήμερα διαχειριζόμαστε προκειμένου να την σώσουμε, να την αναδείξουμε και να την περάσουμε στις νεότερες γενιές.
The museum's carefully chosen location not only keeps the artifacts closely connected to their origins, but also builds a bridge between the past and the present. Similarly, in China, a newly completed modern museum stands as a guardian of a 3,000-year-old civilization, quietly watching over the splendors of the past.
我们今天看到的三星堆博物馆，实际上呢，就位于三星堆古城的城址像1986年，我们在三星堆考古发掘的时候就发现有村落的遗址，同时呢还有祭祀区，而且这个城距今已经3000多年以后，保存状态还非常好，这在中国商周时期的古城当中还是非常罕见的。
Abstract bronze statues, mysterious symbolic patterns, and a continuous flow of uniquely shaped, intricately crafted artifacts unearthed at Sanxingdui constantly expand our understanding and imagination of human wisdom from over 3,000 years ago, offering new perspectives and methods for global cultural heritage preservation and research.
We know very well that China has done a lot of progress, is one of the leading countries in digital technologies in the world. So the two countries could put together their digital expertise and the methodological expertise and find solutions that will make excavations not just faster but also much more efficient. Two countries with such treasures of heritage would certainly have a lot to discuss about how this heritage may be better protected. We may exchange views on how we promote our heritage, on why is our heritage important to the world as a whole.
Throughout the long course of human history, Greece and China each created distinct and recognizable civilizations that together contribute to the colorful garden of human civilization. In February 2023, 8 universities from China and Greece jointly established the Center of Chinese and Greek Ancient Civilizations. Professor Vervidakis, one of its initiators, witnessed the founding of the center in the auditorium of the University of Athens.
If you study both cultures, you see that they have a lot in common. They wanted peace, they wanted beauty, they wanted harmony. I think that great cultures, historical cultures, can teach each other. So if you have some questions about how to interpret some ideas in Greek thought, maybe by reading Confucius, you may make a comparison and say, oh, maybe they mean something similar, and that helps you.
The great literary giant Nikos Kazantzakis, who visited China twice, once said, Socrates and Confucius are two masks of humanity, and beneath the masks is the same face of human reason.
Socrates was a Greek philosopher who was doing simple things in everyday life. He said this wonderful, this is one of my favorite mottos from Greek philosophy, that an unexamined life is not worth living. Now, of course, in Confucius, you find beautiful ideas about importance of culture and why knowledge is very important. And you find moral ideas. I like in Confucius this idea that you shouldn't do to the others what you don't want the others to do to you.
During China's pre-Qing period, the 100 schools of thought flourished, marking a prosperous era of ideas. This period coincided with the golden age of Greek philosophy when great minds emerged. The respective ideas of these contemporary philosophers have astonishing similarities and points of resonance. Despite the fact that over 2,000 years ago, ancient Greece and ancient China were separated by thousands of miles and their philosophers never met. So, how did they find a common language?
The Greek word means something like eudaimonia, means something like flourishing. Flourishing the whole self requires an effort in the study through the human mind. And I think you find similar ideas in Confucius and Confucianism, which lays very much emphasis on study. And it's no coincidence that both cultures recognize the importance of teachers. Teachers are very important figures in both traditions, and you have Lao Tzu, you have teachers in your culture, and they are very much respected, like they were respected in ancient Greece.
I really appreciate the Chinese way of thinking. Sayings of Confucius influence and should influence our modern world. Should I go first or you?
Thank you.
This is also very characteristic of the Chinese way of behaving. I remember once with my friend Yang Yuping from Nankai University, we had blocked a corridor at the University of Athens because I insisted on his coming first and he insisted on my coming first. At the end, we had blocked the entrance of the corridor. There are many connections between Chinese and Greek culture, and I have seen that realized in practice when speaking with the Chinese students and in speaking with colleagues from China. I had never the impression that we are speaking different languages, because the intellectual language was common.
Like the University of Athens, Sichuan University is also a member of the Center of Chinese and Greek Ancient Civilizations.
因此呢，我才善于言说和思考，我才善于 logio， 就是这个罗格斯。那我们这边也一直在每年都会邀请国外的大专家来做课程啊，做讲座，交流也越来越多。以前他们也只是觉得中国是个伟大的古代文明而已，是个强大的现代国家而已。但真正他们走到我们的课堂上，他们听到我们学生的提问，他们会发现中国的学生非常聪明。 而且呢，也有相当的基础，就是虽然我们是汉语教学为主，但是我们的阅读文献大量的都是外文，然后我们很多学生也都学过古希腊语。今天先来请陈维同学讲一下他这个新书哈，这个是他翻译的第2本书了啊，也是独立翻译的第1本书。这个约翰森他是国际古希腊哲学界的顶刊 Honesis 的主编。 那他也刚来过我们川大。
我觉得这本书的特点是处理的问题非常丰富。柏拉图是觉得这个我们人类的处事的方针的指导是可以从自然界的运行规律中得来的。然后他。
Sichuan University has witnessed the ongoing cultural exchange between China and Greece across generations. Over 80 years ago, China's first scholar to translate ancient Greek literature and drama into Chinese once taught here.
My father是四川大学的外语系教授。 后来是川大外语系的主任，我们家就在望京楼旁边啊，九眼桥旁边啊。 所以我为什么叫景林呢？我弟弟叫景文呢，都跟景家有关系。
In 1933, Luo Niansheng laid eyes upon the deep blue of the Aegean Sea and became the first modern Chinese person to study in Greece. That same year, his translation of the works of Euripides, the ancient Greek tragedian, was published in Shanghai, beginning the story of 3 generations of the Luo family's connection with Greece.
这个我拿了2本书，一本呢是我爷爷出的古希腊语和汉语字典，这个可以说世界上现在真的是唯一的一部。他一辈子，尤其他的后半生，都一直在做这个巨大的工程。这本书呢是他出的一个全集，里边有他翻译的这几10部古希腊的悲喜剧。
In 1986, the ancient Greek tragedy Oedipus Rex, translated by Luo Niansheng, was brought to the stage and caused a huge sensation. It was the first ancient Greek play to be officially performed in China, directed by Luo Niansheng's son, Luo Jinlin.
这就是罗锦林，这是罗金生在哪儿了？
排演这个俄狄浦斯王之后，就受到了希腊政府的邀请，让咱们中央戏剧学院的这个演出代表团参加了在希腊德尔菲举办的第2届国际古希腊戏剧节。那么在这个戏剧节上，就是让欧洲人第一次看到了原来在遥远的中国有这样的艺术家在非常严肃的、认真的研究演绎我们希腊的这个作品。所以当时希腊挺轰动的，形成了一个小小的中国浪潮。
古希腊戏剧是我们戏剧的源头，它是属于西方的戏剧的代表。我们戏曲呢，我们中国的这个传统呢，是东方的戏剧的代表。因此，东西方戏剧能不能叫做融合？融合的意思呢，就是我们喝咖啡的时候加牛奶，你中有我，我中有你。所以在这几10年，我就一直在研究这个课题。
这张照片，这个是我临上希腊的前1天，那个时候我爷爷已经生病住医院，我们3个人照的这张照片。哎，现在想想真遗憾，怎么没有当时留下更多的影像呢？哈，有书就行了。这就是你留下再多的影也没有用，但是你留下书，你这辈子就永远留下来了。
After graduating from the University of Athens, Luo Tong chose to stay in Greece to promote Chinese culture. During her more than 20 years in Greece, she founded the first private Chinese cultural center in the country. A few years ago, seeing that her parents were getting older, Luo Tong decided to return to China and carry on her grandfather's and father's legacies.
我跟你们对个话，你们来问我今年咱唱什么呀？我跟你们说，今年咱来歌唱酒神。你们问我歌唱酒神什么呀？我歌唱酒神的出生。你们说酒神怎么出生的呀？我说酒神啊，是这么出生的。好了，这个时候就有了什么？叙事，有了情节，有了第一个演员表演故事，对不对？所以第一个独角戏就诞生了，在公元前536年。那我回来以后有一个非常重要的责任吧，就是让更多的普通的观众感受到希腊其实离我们并不遥远。希腊戏剧、希腊文学、希腊艺术中所说的那些事情和所表达的那些情感，其实跟我们今天的日常生活息息相关。就是如果在你的青少年时期你就开始接触这些古希腊的文化的话，你会找到一把很好的钥匙，为你打开未来与世界、与西方对话的这样的一个大门。这是一个希腊的艺术家做的大型的装置，是一只船做成橄榄叶的形状和乐器的形状。那么在这个船的甲板上呢，刻满了汉字。
写的呢是一对孪生姐妹，中国和希腊，她们出生之后就相隔万里，但是随着船在海上的航行，这一叶小舟在海上找到了流失已久的这个姐妹，相互相知、相认、相亲的这样的一个童话故事。本身我是参与了这个装置的创作，与此同时呢，我又是搞戏剧的，所以无论是我来看戏，还是我来排戏，我都会专门过到这里来触摸一下这个作品。我相信我的这每一个触摸也会传达到现在远在雅典的这个装置艺术家。
In the 4th century BC, the ancient Greeks gave distant China a beautiful name, the land of silk. Ancient Greece, located at the crossroads of east-west trade routes, had a prime geographical position that made it a key hub for Mediterranean trade. Chinese silk, porcelain, and tea traveled along the Silk Road to Greece. This Silk Road tightly connected the two nations.
Ήθελα να έχω 1 και 2 και 3 και 4 παιδιά. Πως όλα να μεγαλώσουν, να γίνουν λεβέντες για χαρί του Πειραιά.
In Greek, Piraeus means the place that guards the passage. Piraeus port is Greece's largest port and the southern gateway to Europe. Today, with the cooperation of China and Greece, Piraeus port has become the #1 port in the Mediterranean and the 4th largest in Europe.
Η διάθεση αυτοκινήτων απέναντί μας. Βλέπουμε και το νέο προβλήτα που έγινε με 5.000 καινούργιες θέσεις. Υπάρχει μια αύξηση πάρα πολύ μεγάλη και στην παραγωγή μας, αλλά και στα έσοδα της εταιρείας. Όσον αφορά τις σχέσεις μας με τη διοίκηση και τους Κινέζους, κάθε χρόνος που περνάει ερχόμαστε πιο κοντά, γινόμαστε πιο μεγάλη οικογένεια.
Everyone is happy to work here and allow me to use one Chinese expression. Yue lai yue, duo de silaren, sen yao jiaru woman gongsi gongzuo. Here is a photo that I'm very proud of. It was November 2019. First line is the leaders of the country. I had the privilege to be in the photo. My position is here and I can keep this photo for the whole of my life. I said many stories to my children for this photo and how proud I was to be in that specific moment. Εγώ γιο Liang και Hajimen, Tamendou Erji, Tamendou Lianxi, Zhong Guo Wushu. Tamendou Lianxi Mei Hua Chuan. Every time they tell me we have to go to China to practice, to learn more. I told them, wait, when you become older.
Sports are a universal language, and people are the best carriers of cultural exchange. A shared love for sports brings people from all over the world together.
This is a very important moment when people meet from all over the world. You know, 2004 were also the Olympics in Athens, and I had the honor to open the Olympics with an ancient head in my hand. It was one of the most moving moments in my life when I was in the stadium and I connected with all these thousands of people and millions of people throughout the world.
Lydia Koniardo, former Greek Minister of Culture and Sports and a renowned Greek theater artist and director, once taught briefly at the Shanghai Theater Academy. She treasures many gifts from China in her home.
I'm very fond of this. For you, it's very common. It was a New Year celebration of China here in Athens, and it was given to me as a gift. This is one of my favorite kites from China. I love this. This is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it flies. It flies very beautifully and very easily. You just go like this and it flies. It's amazing. When a culture has a great past and it studies, it doesn't forget this past. It's like a tree with very deep roots. It can grow very high and is strong. So I feel a big respect for the Chinese culture and civilization. That's why I've started learning Chinese, and I wish to continue the language. It's an amazing language. It's so rich and so beautiful. I know a children's song. So it's 两个老虎跑得快，跑得快，一只没有耳朵，一只没有尾巴，真奇怪，真奇怪。Now this is very interesting because this is a French song. So it's a bridge between the West and the East.
The collaboration and blending of different civilizations are important drivers of human progress. Dialogue between these two ancient civilizations allows us to look back at the past, understand the present, and illuminate the future.
That's what I understand as dialogue of civilizations. Dialogue of civilizations is not just abstract thinking or abstract comparing, but it's like learning and learning through everyday life. And everyday life includes also eating, drinking, singing, loving, making friends, and that's what brings us closer.
所以我在希腊生活的时候，每当我跟希腊人说我是来自中国的时候，他们都会对我表现出非常友好的态度。他们认为在世界范围内，只有中国人是可以在文化上、在历史上和他们对话的。
Because if cultures cannot have a dialogue between them, they will die. Dialogue is the basis of real human and mankind.
The more we learn about other cultures, the more open-minded we become, and the deeper our knowledge becomes. The more we can appreciate how other people live, the more we can appreciate what human beings are.
What is similar is the development, the way these civilizations have developed through the centuries. This was a great moment, I think, for both our cultures. It's very important to know each other. Then we can become friends, and then we can work together for a better future for the whole planet. There is a lot of dialogue that can be developed in many, many ways between the two countries.